Hi there. Are you tired of encountering frustrating errors while working with APIs in JavaScript? Well, worry no more. In this tutorial, we'll unravel the secrets of error handling in JavaScript, ensuring your applications are robust, reliable, and capable of handling unforeseen circumstances. So, without any delay, let's dive in. So, alright, guys, I'm going to show you error handling in JavaScript in three incremental steps. So, there are three different incremental steps that you can do in order to handle error while making an API call in JavaScript. So let's start with the first one. So as you can see here, I have this index.html file. So here I'm not going to write anything. I'm just going to write a script tag and I'm just going to write the JavaScript here. So I'm just going to write JavaScript here only because I just want to teach you error handling in JavaScript. And I think the script tag will do the job. So I'm going to write JavaScript here itself. And then the first step, as I already told you, this is going to be a three incremental steps to make your application robust and handle errors while making an API call. So we'll start with the first one. And then the first one is using the power of promise properly. And also, in order to make the API call, I'm going to use this JSON placeholder API. So you can just go to the Google and type JSON placeholder and you're going to get this link. You can just come and click this link, and I'm going to scroll a bit and I'm just going to come and click on this post, and there you go. I got some tons of posts out here, so I'm just going to make this API call so that I can explain you. And as I told you, the first one is I'm going to use promises with the fetch keyword. So I'm just going to use fetch, and as you all know that we just enter the API URL here, that's it. And then we are going to use promises, which is .main and .catch. So this is the first step in order to handle the API error in JavaScript. So here we are going to get the responses, right? And let me log the responses as well, so in order so that I can show you what are the responses that I'm getting here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to return this response by doing response.json. Well, I'm using .json so that I can format the response that I'm getting into a data, and then I can log that data. So in order to do that, in order to get that data, I'm going to write one more .bin, and this is where I'm going to get the data. And here, well, I'm going to simply log the data. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to log the data, and in order to make sure that this is a response, I'm just simply going to write response here in the log so that you guys can understand, yes, this is a response. All right, and then here I'm going to simply log the data. That's all. And so this is how we are going to make an API call, right? So how do we handle the error? Let's just say if some error comes out while making an API call. So the first stage is like we can use .catch, and it is going to handle an error for us. So this is the first thing that we can do here. And simply what I'm going to do is I'm going to log this error here, and I'm simply going to say catch error, because well, this error we are catching it using .catch. So that's why I'm going to write catch error here, and I'm simply going to log whatever the error is. So this is the first case. This is how you can handle error. Now let me hit this go live and let me show you as well. Now here this is empty. I need to open my console here, and also let me zoom this out a little bit for you. As you can see that I am in the console tab, and now let me refresh it for you, and as you can see that we got the response. So this is the response that we are getting out here, and well, this response is giving us tons of things, and we are formatting this response into this JSON and we are returning it, and we are taking this data and we are logging the data, and this is the post that we are getting using JSON placeholder API. As you can see, we got 100 different posts. So this is the first thing. So let's just say I made some typo out here, and let me remove J, and let's just say how it is going to handle an error for us. Let me save and let me refresh, and as you can see now it gave me an error, and as you can see it is saying catch error. So I'm getting this error, as you can see, from this console.log error, which is saying catch error, and it is logging the error. And here it is saying error is type error failed to fetch. So basically it is saying that this fetch keyword, it is failing to fetch the API. So you might check this out here, there might be something wrong. So So that's why we are getting an error. And what you can do is, instead of log, you can write console.error as well, right? So that it is going to highlight in red color, so that we can be sure that this is an error and it is logging it properly out here. And we know that we made a typo out here, so we can just add JSON and we can see we got our data back. So this is the first stage of handling an API error in JavaScript. Now we have another thing also, that we can use try catch block. This is the second thing we can do. So let me write here try catch. So this is what we can do here. So in order to use the try catch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use async await, because I've already shown you the fetch way. So let me show you async await and try catch way. So I'm going to use try catch block and async await keyword, which is the syntactic sugar or promise, and I'm going to show you how you can handle the API error. So here I'm going to simply write the function fetch data, all right, and let me simply open this function out here, and here I'm going to simply write try and catch. So this is known as try catch block. So inside this try block, I'm going to make an API call, and what this try catch is going to do us is, whenever we try to make some kind of API call inside this try block, and if there is no error, the try block is going to execute. But let's just say we got some error, then this try block is not going to execute, and then it is simply the control is simply going to go to the catch block, and it is going to log the error for us. So let's use this. So here what we can do is we will be getting response. So I'm going to simply say const response is equals to await, and I'm going to use the similar fetch keyword, all right, and I'm going to take this API and I'm going to make that API call again here. So let me get this for you, and now we need to get the data as well, right? So simply I'm going to say const data is equals to await, and I'm simply going to say response dot JSON. There you go. Now we got the data, and I can simply log the data here. And you know what, let me log the response as well, so that I can show you the response as well. What is the response that I'm getting here? All right. And then let's just say we got some error while making this API call, then we can handle that error inside this catch block, and again we can simply log the error here. All right, let me write log, or instead of log I can write error as well, so that it is going to highlight us in red color mark. And here simply I am going to say catch error. Okay, let me write try catch error, so that we can understand better that this try catch error is logging us the error. And let me write try catch, and let me log this error here. All right, so this is how we can handle. And let me save. And all right, I need to call this fetch data function as well, then only it is going to execute for us, otherwise it is simply not going to execute. Right now let us go to the browser and let me refresh, and there you go, it is logging us the post. It is logging the response first, and we formatted it using response.json, and it is logging the data, which is 100 list of posts. And again, let's just say if I make a typo, and let's just say this is trying to give us some error, then well, this is not going to execute, and whatever the code that is written inside the catch block, this is going to execute, and it is going to give us whatever the error that it is finding out here. And let us go, and as you can see, let me refresh one more time, and as you can see, it is saying try catch, because this try catch is being logged from here, and now it is going to log the error whatever it is saying. Let us go back to the console, and as you can see, it is type error failed to fetch at the fetch data function. So it is saying we are failing to fetch at this fetch data function. As you can see here, it is pointing out us here, it is saying that we have failed to fetch, and that's why it is logging us this for us. Now we can come here and we can understand, hey, this is the issue, it is failing to fetch. We can check and we can understand, hey, this is a typo that we made here, and we can fix this. And as you can see, now it is working completely fine for us. So this was the second way of error handling. Now we have one more way of error handling, that is checking the status of an API, right? So this is the third way, and one of the coolest way that you can do in order to make sure that you are not running into any error, and if you are running into some kind of error, then you can understand the root cause. So that is the third way which you can do, that is by checking the status. So checking the status of API. So API sends you some kinds of status, so you can check out that and you can find out the error. And checking the status is pretty simple. Like I can just let me copy this code out here, and then here also we can check the status, or we can check the status here as well. I'm simply using this fetch, and let me uncomment it out, and as you can see this code is working completely fine. Now what you can do is we can add one more steps here, and we can use the if statement, and we can say if response dot okay, and we are going to simply use not, and we are going to say if response dot okay is not, means if the response is not going to give us okay result, then we are going to throw some error, and we are simply going to say throw new error, and we are going to simply throw the error. So here I'm simply going to write throw error, and I'm going to throw an error which is simply going to be response dot, let's just say status, or response dot error, whatever the response is returning. And let me log, and let me show you from where I'm getting this response dot okay. You guys might be confused, so let me save and let me come here and let me refresh. As you can see that I'm logging the response here, and this is the response that I'm getting. Now if I open this response object, as you can see it is giving me a lot of different things out here, and as you can see it is also sending us something called okay, and it is sending us true. So it is going to send us okay as true. If the API call is successful, there is no issue with the API, then only it is going to give us true. Alright, and what we are going to say is like the condition, let us find it out. So we are using response dot okay, and we are using not. That means it is saying if response is not okay, that means if response is false, then only we are going to execute this code. But if response is okay, means it is true, then we are not going to execute this code, and we are simply going to return the response, and we are going to log the data. So that's what we are doing here. But if response is not okay, if response is false, then we are not going to execute all this, and we are simply going to throw the error. And in the error we are going to say throw response dot status. So let's just see, here is the status that response is giving. So right now there is no issue, so that's why it is giving us 200 status. But let's just say if there is some issue, then this status is going to change. And in some of the APIs this response also may send you some message or error message, that also you can grab, and instead of writing response dot status, you can also write response dot error message, something like that, if your API is sending. And you can give user the customized error message as well. But in this case, since this API is not giving us any error message from the API end, so that's why we are using this status as well. So this is one of the cool way to handle API in order to make sure that everything is working completely fine. So this makes your application really robust and error free, and if there is some error, you can handle that error pretty well, right? So this is one of the good way to do that. And now let me make some error intentionally, and let me save, and let me see, let me refresh. And as you can see that we made some error, and now it is throwing us the error. So it is throwing us the error from the catch error and failed to fetch. So we are getting this error from here, but we are not getting this error from here. Why? Because well, the API was okay, but we just made some typo, and that typo was caught inside the catch. This throw new error is only going to throw us when we make a successful API call. There is no typo, but there is some kind of issues either in the backend side or in the syntax part. By syntax part, there should not be any spelling issues. If there is some kind of typo, then catch is going to throw us error. But if there is some kind of technical issues in the backend side, then this is where this response object is going to show us false, and this is where we are going to get that customized error from the backend. So this is where you can use. So this is one of the very handy way to show the customized error message from the backend, and it is also one of the most asked interview questions as well. So alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you are now confident enough to handle API errors in JavaScript, and I'll see you all in the next video.